Sorry guys, I hate that part. All right, welcome. Welcome. Shayna is on her little vacation, so you guys have me, Shannon Shine, today, and we're going to talk about a little bit of both because it seems like everybody wants both branding and website development. Is that a good assumption there? Both would be helpful at this point. So if you didn't know, I've actually been helping Shayna build the workbook, and it's been something that I've been really passionate about for a long time, is graphic design and branding development and making things feel a little more cohesive. And it's always an adventure to figure out what is the best way to make that cohesive element with your brand. And a big part of that is figuring out what kind of feeling that you want your brand to have. So I want you guys to, I want anyone and everyone to be able to take a second and really breathe into that. Because today we're going to talk about websites and we're going to talk about branding, and that goes into how you want to feel, or you want a person to feel when they look at whatever it is you're offering. So we're going to talk about color elements today. We're going to talk about a logo. We're going to talk about even the fonts. And if that's not something that you've thought about yet, it's a good time to really take a second and tap into that. Let's get everyone in here. Got a few more popping in. All right, so welcome. And let me see. I have a few different documents that I want to kind of share, and I didn't get them dropped into the Facebook group, but I will get the PDFs because I know some of you like to download them. Let me know if you can see this yet. Here we go. Can you guys see that? Yes, no? So I've built workbooks for a long time, and you might not be building workbooks. You might be, just building the visual aspect of your brand or your experience at all. And the first thing is you're going to want to kind of come up with a color scheme. You're going to come up with a couple of fonts, and you're probably going to want to come up with a logo or some sort of element that you stick with. Many of us have seen Shayna's where she has the hands, the sister stone, and she sticks with a lot of tree elements, a lot of grounded colors, a lot of rooted colors. And then there's mine. I have a little bit of a different spectrum. I'm very blue and purple. My hair is kind of my go off of. I dress in the colors when I'm doing my branding. I keep my workbooks and things in my color branding. And it's a way to get people to remember who you are and remember, to start, not even remember, but to start thinking about what you're offering subliminally, in a way when someone looks at, a tree with some praying hands or something, you're going to start thinking of, Sister Stone and her facilitation. Or with mine, when people start seeing purple and blue, I get a lot of people, anything that's purple and blue, they see a quote with a purple and blue background, they send it to me now. They see something that says shine on it, I get it. This little light of mine. People start thinking about light and things because I've built this element in my branding. So I've built this little book too that I want to share with all of you, and today we're going to kind of go through a lot of informational content. We did a little bit of checking, and I know Shayna's going to do a little bit more community checking in the next group gathering. So if you guys have if anyone has any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments, because I know I talk fast and I want to cover things that actually are important to you. Like creating that soul brand archetype in a visual way. We've done a lot of thinking about it. We've done a lot of prayer. We've done a lot of intention setting. And now we're at this birthing process where we're like, all right, we've got to get this out into the world. How do I actually want to be seen? Is there anyone else that's out there now, like you're ready to actually just get the project out there in the elements? So doing so is, even if you're doing a website rebrand, a lot of these things are going to be good to think about, of how you want the energy of your website to come out. Do you want it to come out creative and playful and encouraging? Do you want it to be very bold and to the point and factual, like I'm here to make a difference, I have these very specific facts, and like more business oriented? You may want it to be more gentle or adventurous or mysterious. There's all these different elements you could want to infuse into your brand. So I kind of created this little worksheet. I'm a very visual journal, figure it outer type of person. So I've got a lot of these kind of little activities to help bring that element to life for you. And this PDF will be in the group, and I will put a link of it in the website. And these are good little questions to ask yourself when you're making, you know, like a graphic for your Instagram or even just your website. Like you want to start using the same couple of colors, the same couple of fonts. And it also takes a little bit of the planning or the thought process out of it too, because you can start to build templates and you can start to build cohesion. You don't have to be like, oh, I have to find a new font. It doesn't have to be new every time. You want to be kind of creating a space that feels very good for you to continue to grow in. My fonts have changed, my logos have changed over the years. Instead of purple, I used to have more of a lime green, and I've kind of evolved. So your colors and your branding may shift. For those that have no idea of what colors or anything you want to play with or how a font can affect you, I have this little worksheet here you'll get to kind of play with colors. You could scribble it on if you have an iPad or if you have colored pencils or anything. It's just kind of like a little mood sheet, something for you to check out. I saw somebody in the Facebook group that was saying they were having a hard time, you know, thinking about making stories or making graphic content in general. And if you're not aware, there are many different apps out there. I think Shayna talked about them a little bit in our last meetup, like Canva and a few others, but I mainly use Canva and I use the free portion for a lot of my different things. And you can make a cohesive brand for free in canva.com. They have a way for you to build color templates so it'll remember what colors you want. You can save your favorite fonts. They even have, if you search their templates, logo templates, and you can just alter them and layer them and kind of play with them in a way that is so, it's pretty simple. It's so simple, and we'll play with it here at the end if anyone wants to see that element of it, to start to get an idea. Even if you don't feel confident enough in, you know, creating just a logo in a free program like that you could get an idea and then send it to a designer friend or, you know, hire that out and still have some sort of control element over what you want to create or creative control. So I've created these little spaces here for you to play with logo ideas and thinking about how you can create a logo that represents your energy. Often you'll want a logo to be super simple, something that can be under, you know, 3 or 4 colors. Think about it as it's something you would want to maybe put as a stamp somewhere. You would want this on a shirt somewhere. If you're getting something printed, you would want it to look good in both color and black and white. So you don't want it to be something ridiculously detailed. A logo should be something pretty simple. It's going to be something that you'll ask or have yourself vectorize, which again will make it almost like a stamp in digital format. So I've seen a lot of people when they start out branding, they'll come to me and they'll have this super intricate logo and they'll be like, I want to get shirts made of this, and nobody wants to print the shirts because they're afraid that the little tiny details might get cut off or smudged or something. So they have a hard time really making their brand feel cohesive or feeling like they can bring their brand to life. So something simple is better, and you can change your logo over time, but the longer you have that, the same kind of design, even if it morphs a little bit, the more integrated it gets in our minds. And the most common symbols I can think of when we were in branding school, they said the Nike swoosh. It's changed its like curvature over the years, but it's still a swoosh and you remember it. And the same with like the arches of the different like food restaurants and things like that. So when you're creating a brand, you're creating something that's memorable and that you can subliminally kind of infuse into people's minds.
Hey, Shannon,
yes.
Can I ask a question with regards to logos?
Yes.
So as you're speaking, the idea came to me to take this aspect of my tattoo and put it as a logo. Now, it's a bit complex, and technically the tattoo artist designed it. So even if I wanted to use a variation on this, would I need to ask the artist permission? Would I need to credit them with the design? Do you have any insight on that? If it's too... Go ahead.
As an artist myself, I would want somebody to probably ask me permission if that person's still around and doing art and you have a way to contact them. And if not, you would want to maybe create a variation of it that wasn't that exact artist's version. But just I don't know, that's kind of, I guess, a personal decision. But as an artist, it would feel really respectful if you just like reached out and said, I really love this design. Can I make it into a logo? They'd probably really love that.
Yeah, that's my thinking too. I also, as a designer, do you think this is too complex, just this sun?
I think the
Because there's
outline
a
of it would be perfect. I can't tell if there's a bunch of dot work in it, but the dot work is where things start to get iffy in logo designs because the smaller something is, a vector is something. So when you vectorize a like a image, it will make it so that you can like scale it to any size and it won't get blurry. So when there's dots and little tiny intricate details, it makes it too hard to make a stamp. So like right now, my logo, for those that maybe saw it when I first came in, let's see if I can switch it to this other screen here. So like my logo is my wings with the little seed of life at the top. And it didn't used to be that. I've always had wings in my logo because it was kind of something I've done since I was a kid, but it's shifted the thing in the middle. I used to have a little diamond, and then I used to have a fedora that I wore all the time, and like the things in the wings have shifted. So like that, I wish I had a picture of the evolution of my logo over the last 10 years. But when you find something little that you can kind of keep with it, or the colors or something like that. But when I take that image, I can make it as big or little as I want. Like the wings are intricate, but it's vectorized in a way that it's not going to get pixelated. So it's really in how you make the graphic vector too. I have a version of it that's black and white where the wings are just solid white also. So you might
That's
lose
really
the,
helpful.
yeah.
Especially because I can communicate with the tattoo artist because the original image they made didn't have any of the stippling or dot work. So I
Mm,
think just a simple communication with them about saying, hey, I love what you designed for me. I'm curious about a logo version. How would you feel about that, etc. Could wind up just being the effective way to do it. So thank you for that insight.
totally, yeah. Logos are they're interesting because they grow with you, and like you can get a designer, and some people will design logos for like $10, $20. Some people charge several $100s, and it just depends on the artist and the person you're working with and what all you want it for and how you package it. So that is a good question. Let's see if I can bring this back up here. So some people have a hard time writing bios. I know that Shannon's done a few different things with us on creating our bio and stuff. But if you're creating a website, this is going to be helpful for you too. It's just a few questions to make sure you kind of include in your bio, or it's like to help trigger some ideas. A lot of people will look at them and then just kind of flow from it. So if anyone's having a hard time writing about themselves, here's a little bio worksheet that I'll give you access to. And we'll just kind of want to shift through this so I can show you guys everyone websites. I created a little branding checklist for everyone. So if anyone has questions on what they might need, you have a logo, you might want to consider a few fonts, your color scheme, getting your mission statement together. This is to help you create a little press kit. So a press kit is something I like to keep in my Google Cloud. That's where I keep everything. I have a little folder that has all of my professional pictures in it. And it doesn't have just pictures of me, but it has pictures of my aesthetic. So I have pictures of crystals. I have pictures of blue and purple candles. I have pictures of like pretty flowered places where I've played my drum before. I have pictures of just my drum. Like you don't want just photos of you either, because you're building basically a portal to yourself on the internet. And you want people to feel a vibration as if you're welcoming them into a studio or an office, since we're now virtually everywhere. So having all of this together in one little folder makes it super easy if you get booked on a podcast or somebody's, Facebook Lives or whatever. You don't have to go searching for it. And creating that press kit takes away an element of pressure of, oh, I have to figure out how to represent myself, because you've already created this little space outside of just your website to send all of these people who want to help see your program or offering, whatever it is you're putting out into the world, succeed. And you just got to give them the pieces. So your press kit is all the pieces to your puzzle. If someone's having an issue figuring out product descriptions, I have a little blurb here on how to, create a description. Last session, Shayna showed us a website that was really inspiring to her and got her intrigued in an offering. And this website did that because it explained what the offering was for, who the offering was for. where someone would use that offering, and all of those things. And it's things that you might not think about when you're in the stress of figuring out, how to get your offering out there in general. So hopefully that breaks it down for everyone so that they don't have to think so hard about how to create a description. I wanted to really break it into all the little pieces. This is a little reminder of all the places you can share the offering outside of just your website, which we're going to dive into here in just a few minutes on website development. But one day I sat down and I was like, where are all the places that I can share this and will reach people of interest? And what may reach people of interest for my offering might be different than your offering. I have a lot of people that are online because they want to do social media marketing. You may have a lot more people in a yoga studio or in a cafe or at a college or a university. So making a list of where you can share your offerings is super helpful, so you don't have to think about it when you're hitting the share button. Just have a little note card or this little checklist even of places you can just instantly share without having to even ask permission. Super helpful. Or some people, you might want to ask like other people if you can hop on their live videos or their YouTubes or an Instagram live with them, and making a little spot in your schedule to get that out there. Another thing people don't think about is using your Facebook banner, your profile picture, and your bio section in your personal profiles. Super beneficial. Anytime I have an offering, I change the cover photo on my personal Facebook to have information about that. So if people go to my page, even without having to send me a message, all of my information for what I'm offering is there. And I think right now I don't have any major courses or anything. I'm kind of taking a little bit of a break and doing personal development. So I still just have my website and what I offer on my website in my cover photo with like a picture of me. So it still feels personable, but people can instantly find out what I'm about. Your personal pages on social media, even if you don't want to use them a lot and have to be active on them a lot, using them as a little bit of a billboard for your brand at this point is really, really helpful, because it's where people go to find information about you. You meet someone new in the world, and if you use social media, most often people are going to look you up there and want to see what you're about. It's where they get those details. Let's see. This is just a little reminder to make a list of groups. Joining groups with people with mutual offerings is really good. I'm an electroformer. I make electroform jewelry. I'm in a bunch of different electroform groups, but I'm also in a bunch of kind of more sort of like witchy groups, because they really love crystals and amulets and like witchy things, and like we talk about the moon and stuff. So like I'll post, oh, it's a full moon, and I can post a picture of all my jewelry, and people will be like, wow, you put all that jewelry out, like where'd you get it? And I'm like, I made it. So it's like a unique way for me to be in a group of a community of like-minded individuals that may also be interested in what I have to offer. So Facebook groups have been a huge thing to building my brand, and I have several groups myself. So let's see. Making a list of just people that you can reach out to that don't mind if you tag them, building your street team. I have a couple of people along my travels that have really helped me, where they've taken something I've offered, and they've said, like, make sure you tag me. There's some people out there that they don't mind being tagged every time you post something. Like, they want to know, and it's how they find out. So you can ask people when you go live or when you do something, like, hey, do you mind being on my tag team? And then they'll be like, well, what's that? And you'll be like, can I tag you when I have an offering? Do you mind sharing it on your wall? And usually I let people come to me, or I let people ask, like, how can I help you? And I'll ask them if they can be on my tag team. So I don't feel like I'm cold calling people like, hey, can I just tag you in all my posts? It's like, no, they said, how can I help you? It's like, well, the best thing you can do is help share me on social media, because that's where people are finding me. So creating a tag team is super helpful. And then that's just my little information. If any of you have questions and want to get touch with me, I can help you build your brand. If I just overloaded you with all the things, I actually have little kits and time power sessions where I can help you take this to the next level. So I do want to just kind of take a break, let everyone breathe. Hi guys. Hi everybody. And if you do have questions on that part, feel free to hop in. I just kind of dove right into it because I was so excited to get you guys, everyone, that information, because I think it's really important, and I didn't want to have to rebuild it into the other workbook. So Shannon and I just kind of decided we would integrate that portion in when I got to talk. So someone says, question about Facebook. Myra, you're welcome to hop in and ask that question.
Yes. Thank you, Shannon. This is so great. I'm so excited about all these sheets. They're amazing. Thank you so much. I have a Facebook page, my personal one, that I have almost like 1,700 people. It's pretty high. And then, but over the years, I've done my businesses little pages, but they're not as high. So, and then I always get like really paranoid that people are gonna get pissed at me because I'm posting business stuff on my personal. And that's a mindset that I'm not sure if I need to shift that, because and I don't know where that comes from. I think I did get comments in the past about it when I did a lot of that, and I kind of backed off. And that's my question. It's like, really, what's the line on using that personal, because that's where everybody is. I mean, everybody who's there is also in my other ones. I mean, some of them, but that's the whole group.
So it's a group they're getting upset that you're posting in? Is that what you said? You're afraid of posting?
In groups in the past,
Okay.
that's what happened. Thank
Okay.
you for putting that out, because I remember being in a group, and it was when I was new at Facebook. And I would post all these things with my brand because I was letting them know who I am.
Right.
And I think that pissed some people off.
So there are a lot of different groups that it's kind of frowned upon to go in and instantly advertise. So Facebook is a very unique platform where you almost have to be creative in how you introduce the discussion. So rather than me just going into a group and being like, hey guys, I create jewelry. Here's my jewelry. I made all this jewelry. I want you to see it on my website. Go buy it on my website. Instead of being like that in a post, I've learned to be like, I really enjoyed making this jewelry. It brought me a lot of peace, and I just really wanted to share it with everyone. And is there a piece that is your favorite? And then that creates a conversation with them rather than being like, here, I made this thing, buy this thing. I want you to look at my brand. And then they're like, oh, wow, she put a lot of love into that jewelry. There's a peaceful energy into it. Which one is my favorite? I think I like that one. I'm going to comment. And I invited them to comment and be a part of the discussion and a part of the process with me rather than just kind of being like, go do this thing. So I've found that when I go into groups and I create a space that is community oriented, especially if it's not my group, it is really powerful in connecting with new people. And then those people will often be like, oh, you create these? Can I follow you? Can I be on your timeline so I can see when you update? And that's been a super helpful way to be a part of groups without taking it over and posting brands. Now, if you have your own group and there's like 1,700 people or something in there, and you feel like there was a lot, I think you said there was a lot happening, and now you like made these other groups over the years. Was that the other?
Oh yeah, because at first was my personal, and then I did the nonprofit, and then Myra Holistic Fitness and Ecovilla. I have like 3 pages.
Well, if you've made this group, this container, and you've invited people in, what you can do is you can make an announcement in that group that you are now going to use what the space is for, and invite people to either participate in the space, or if they no longer feel it's a space that resonates with them, tell them that they're welcome to, leave and that it won't offend you. That way you can create and curate that space in a way that is comfortable for you, because that's where everybody is. That's where your audience is, and you should be allowed to post what you want there. It's your space, like your timeline. A lot of people will be like, oh, why do you post so much business on your personal timeline? It's like, well, that's what is my business. That is my day. I spend a lot of time, working on this project, and Facebook says, what are you up to? Well, this is what I'm up to. So it's like, if people don't want to see the business that I'm offering or the content I'm creating or what I'm feeling while I'm creating this, then maybe they don't want to be on my timeline. That's okay with me.
Can I jump in and offer some perspective too? Yeah. Do you get annoyed or angry when other people are advertising or marketing? Like if you
I don't.
Yeah. So and not everyone has to have the same feelings, but recognize that there are just as many people who don't get upset. And probably those are the ones who want to see it. So there might be some people who decide to unfollow you or snooze you for a few days, and it's not the right time for them to connect with you. But sometimes, I think it's absolutely correct that if your business is a big part of who you are and what you're up to, that it makes sense to share that you're excited about it and the feelings you want to offer to other people. And, since you're not trying to offer them angry feelings, those feelings might be their responsibility. But on the note of Facebook groups too, is some groups, and I think Mariana had said this in the chat, that there's usually guidelines for Facebook groups that are pinned to the tops, a pin to the top that will say, don't advertise or sell things, or on Fridays is when we self-promote, and like a moderator will put a self-promotion post. And so that's the safe place to do it. So it's kind of just like many groups have different rules and different cultures, even if they look like they're all Facebook groups.
Mm-hmm. They're like their own little portals. Because I have some groups
guys,
like,
very helpful.
Thank you. If there's any other questions, feel free to hop in. I was looking at the comments. I'm so glad you guys, everyone's enjoying the cheat sheets and the little questions. It's a lot of journaling. Journaling is really what helped me figure things out, because I had to ask myself a lot of personal questions, and I didn't really have a friend or a course at the time of anybody, a community to talk to about, well, what do you think about these colors? What do you think about this design? So I just would kind of like put it in a journal, and then I'd close it and try to not overthink it and come back to it a couple days later and really reflect in a different mindset too. But we have this community here, and I think that we should really use it. So if any of you do have questions, or you want to brainstorm, like create a post in the Facebook group. I know Shana really wants to see that community blossom too, and for us to utilize each other and pick each other's brains for those that want to show up. It's really helpful to have other eyes on things as you're creating it, because even in Canva, when I create certain certain fonts might be harder for someone else to read than others. That's something I learned in graphics school, is there's different mindsets where different serifs, which some of us might not even know, is like the little dashes at the ends of certain fonts and certain ways dots are made, are hard for certain people of certain eyesight to see, as well as a certain color. So me, as somebody who really loves the color blue, there's certain tones of blue that blue colorblind people can't see or read, so I can't use those colors even. I've had usually there's more masculine energy. They'll walk up to me and they have a certain eye development, and they'll say, I can't see or read any of your product, and I didn't realize that, because there's a certain type of color blindness that only certain types of energy have. So it's really powerful to have other eyes on your projects. All right, just looking in here, I want to dive into websites. We have some time here. Is there any other questions or anything anyone wants to pop in real quick?
Shannon, you mentioned about Canva, and if that's a possibility, I would love to see you kind of playing with that interface for a couple of minutes, and that's it.
Totally. I will roll through this this other set of slides. So I will say this next set of slides I have is a little bit word heavy, because it's me talking about websites. I build my websites through Squarespace, and what I'm going to do is just kind of roll through it intuitively, answer any questions that pop up, and then I will drop these slides as a PDF in the Facebook group as well, so that if I go too fast, I don't want to overwhelm anyone. I just kind of want to put some things in people's minds. And then if you have moments at the end, if anyone wants to see me kind of build something real quick in Canva, I'll give a little presentation on that, because it's kind of fun. It's kind of easy, and some people find it super intuitive, and others may need a second. So that's something.
Hi, Shannon.
Yes.
I have one last design question.
Cool.
Do you keep a cohesive color palette for your brand all the time? Every project is kind of in that color scheme? Or do you have some projects that, like, if you're mostly purple and blue, but this side of you is purple and black for some reason, can that be cohesive, or does it start to be divisive in your experience?
Try to stick with at least one color that radiates through as many as possible would be my suggestion. Because I do have some things like that. I have different shades of purple I use for different shades of things. So like my Manifest Your Destiny is like this kind of pale pink you just saw in the last one. And then my, I do a Soul Journey. It's like a deeper, darker purple, kind of like this pillow over here. And like, I also do my podcasting. So my podcast network with my partner, his colors are yellow, orange, and like a different blue. and mine are blue, purple, and kind of like a coral pink. So when we do our podcast network, our colors are this blue that's in the middle, and it's a yellow that's kind of in the middle of things, and like an orange. So we've created a cohesive thing so that like when he advertises the network, he uses his branding colors and it's still part of the network, and I can use my colors and it's still part of the network. And we wanted that to be possible so that we could still have our own individual brands but create this space so that when we advertised it didn't like throw people off. And that took us a while to kind of coordinate on all of that. And yeah, it's a deep process. So finding colors that work for you. I have a chakra alignment course that I do, and then rainbows get thrown around everywhere when that happens because I see like auras and different rainbow colors. So you'll find your flow as you kind of evolve in it, I think. Cool. Let's see if I can get this one up. All right, let me make it bigger so I can actually read it. Can y'all see that? Yes, no? Cool. So websites and branding. I actually made this slideshow. I teach with a group of artists from all over the world, so it was themed on artists. So if you see anything that says artist, it means anyone. Tried to go through and make it all inclusive. But basically, a lot of people ask why have a website? And for me, having a website is your virtual business card. It's also real estate on the internet. Some people collect real estate. I collect domains because I have .coms for all kinds of things. I have shannonshine.com, I have shantasticshine.com, I have shannonshineart.com, I have copperandshine.com. I've just been buying all these .coms because I want anytime anyone types in anything that they resonate with me, it goes to my website. So that, if they type just my name, because there for a while I just had shantasticshine.com. People can't spell Shantastic. Thought it'd be simple. Apparently not. So I got shannonshine.com, but Facebook won't let me post it. It says that I am spam. So now I have all these domains, and depending on where I'm at on the internet, I can use different ones. But it also makes it easy because then I can forward those different domains to different parts of my website because I've bought the real estate on the internet. And if you hire somebody who is multifaceted and you have many different layers to you, maybe you want to send people to, your flow arts. Maybe you want to send them specific to your poetry. Having different .coms may be something that's beneficial to you, and then you can still build one website and only have to pay for one platform. I've seen so many people be like, oh, I started Reiki business, so I got a new website for that. I have an art business and I have a new website for that. I have like 12 different portions of me all kind of branched out from one website. So I only have to pay one fee for that. You don't have to keep expanding so much. I know there's a few of us that have so many different kind of chapters of our lives and hats that we play. And if you're having trouble trying to figure out how to build that web in a website form, we can do a power session of some kind and really I can lay that out for you. I will say I use Squarespace for everything. I like to use Squarespace 7.0. It's a slightly older version. They have this new beta version and they're still getting the bugs out of it. Not my fave. But the 7.0 templates are pretty great. I feel like they're super user friendly. I've been able to build people a template, and then if they need help, I can help them. But usually if I build them a template, it becomes pretty straightforward, and you can kind of go from there. And Squarespace has a lot of pre-made templates. Sometimes it's just nice to have somebody walk you through a few steps. But you can be in control of your sales. You can be in control of your own portfolio. You can shift your landing pages. I know there's a lot of people who do courses and things through platforms like Kajabi and Udemy and all these other platforms, but you're not then in control of everything. And for a lot of us earth-rooted people, we like to have spaces that we can see our numbers. We can see who's conversating with us, who's interested in our information. We like to, be able to shift things or shift the perspective or the fonts and stuff. We like to have a little bit more creative control. So having your own website is a super powerful move to make, because then you're also not stuck on Instagram or Facebook or any of the platforms that, could go down any day. So I'm going to remember when MySpace was the main and now it just doesn't exist. One day that's probably going to be Facebook and Instagram too. Like there's always something new. Right now TikTok's trying to take over. So it's like, you want to have somewhere on the internet too that if all these different social medias go down, people can still find you. Or if the person goes off social media, they can find you. So this is kind of just some reminders you can look through when I give you the slides. Creating a Google Drive, like I mentioned in the last section, so that you just have everything all in one spot. Picking the templates. Feelings of your website is a lot of what I was talking about in brand. Like, how do you want someone to feel when they get on your website? If you have a website that's just like, there's pictures everywhere, there's fonts everywhere, nothing is the same colors, it's very hard to read, or it's very basic, it looks like it's done in like Notepad or Word document or something, it doesn't intrigue you, then people might not stay on the website. So, but if you create this cozy space, kind of like Shayna was showing us last week, she was very intrigued by, I think it was Melissa Ruiz. Anyway, the website had like pictures and they like flashed, but they didn't flash too fast. It was like just enough to like intrigue you to be like, all right, where else is she going to be, kind of thing. So when you build your space, you want to have an opportunity to welcome them into what you want to see. And I just realized I can't see the comments, so 1 second, let me pull that up if anyone has questions. So someone said, how can we use Squarespace over WordPress? Squarespace is not free. It's a little bit cheaper. It's more user friendly. And I've been helping Shannon with some of her website elements for the portal. And she had Squarespace before, which was why I was able to work with her, because I went to school for graphic design and coding like 10 years ago, even when WordPress first came out. And WordPress's platform is just very confusing. And it takes me as a designer with like a background in that skill hours to figure out some of their plugins and their coding. And when I try to hand those over to other people who don't have as much time or energy or even patience to work with those things, it always seems to be a flustering experience. So I've just found that Squarespace is so much more user friendly and creative friendly. Like if you're someone who doesn't want to spend a lot of time, I would suggest Squarespace over WordPress. I think in the long run they might have similar prices, but WordPress also charges a little extra for like every plugin and every little additional thing, and then you have like a million different passwords for everything, and it is very frustrating from personal experience. Let's see if there's any other questions here. Yeah, you have to pay for different templates. I had to pay more to do sales. I had to pay more for like a certain page. Like WordPress was a lot. So I just really love Squarespace. And Squarespace has a chat feature where anytime I've ever had even the littlest issue, somebody in the chat has always been super nice to me and like helped me figure it out within 24 hours. And that's always like a key thing to me. If I can find a website develop space that has like key customer service, yeah, it's not always easy, but it's doable. Sometimes.
Shannon, may I ask, what are you paying Squarespace right now?
I pay about $30 a month, and I have, like I said, I have like my podcast through there. I have my jewelry through there. I have my personal courses are all through there. I have all my portals. Like Shayna has her portal. I have like 8 different course portals all through my Squarespace. I don't have to pay like an extra fee for new pages or anything. And I can sell all my jewelry through there and services, and I have a schedule app. I think I pay $35 a month. People can just hop on my schedule link. It's like all built into my Squarespace. It was super cohesive.
Shannon, a quick question for you.
Yeah.
I have a Squarespace website, been working at it. I know that it's like much easier than I make it in my head, but one of the puzzles I was trying to solve was connecting, like making an email list. And I was told by like connecting the email list to be integrated into Squarespace. And it seems that I have to have the most recent version in order to do that, or at least that's what they tried to tell me. And I don't know that that's actually, is that true in your experience? Because you said you use an older version.
Yes, there's different ways to build a newsletter into Squarespace. There is a Squarespace newsletter, or there's I think like a template, or not a template, it's like a widget, where you can put it and link it to MailChimp, or I believe Shayna's is linked to her MailerLite that we use to send out newsletters to everyone. So there's like different apps you can link in. The one that you're speaking of, it sounds like might be like the actual Squarespace newsletter plugin. So I'd have to kind of see the back end, but
I asked a friend to troubleshoot for me, and that's the solution they found. But this is the kind of person who likes to find one conclusion. And so I'm like, I wonder if that's the conclusion I want or if there's other ways around it. So thank you for clarifying that.
yeah, totally. Mariana, did you have a question?
I was actually just gonna comment. An option. I've used WordPress, and I'm transferring my website to Squarespace, but I've been using Adobe Portfolio for the last year and a half, and that's also a really good, simple option. And if you have like, I pay for Photoshop, like it's the photographer's Adobe package, and it's $10 a month. So I get Lightroom, Photoshop, and some other programs through Adobe, and that actually gives me free access to manage up to 5 websites through Adobe Portfolio. They have more limited templates, but it's actually way easier to use than WordPress. And then all you have to do is pay for your domain, and you don't have to pay anything for the website management.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I did not know about that. It's beautiful. Does anyone else want to hop on before we go to the next one here? Cool. All right, so we talked about the feeling. If you want, we can take a moment and kind of meditate on that. Feel like we've been thinking about it here, and at the end, I'll take a few moments to just kind of breathe and marinate in the ideas of what we want to go on. You just mentioned a domain, like getting a domain. So if you don't know what a domain is actually different than your website. Your domain is something that you will keep over time, where a website builder like Squarespace, you may shift over time. Let's say Squarespace, for some reason, goes out of business. WordPress goes out of business. Adobe goes out of business. If you have your domain elsewhere, you are still in charge of your .com, and I highly recommend that, because I used to use Wix, which is a really annoying Flash platform that was really kind of top of the line a few years ago. And I purchased my domain straight through them. And I switched to Squarespace, and I couldn't take my domain with me. And if I did, they wanted to charge me a fee. Or they sold it, and then they wanted me to purchase it from a different platform, and it would have cost me an outrageous fee. Really frustrating. So I'd love to save everybody that headache and recommend hover.com. They've been super helpful to me, another company that I've been using for about 8 years now, and they have pretty great customer service, not always like super quick, but it's usually pretty quick. And they helped me link my website overnight, sometimes within 10 minutes. And they also, they have a built-in button. Literally, when you buy your domain, you can literally hit a button and it'll say link to Squarespace, and you literally put like a little link in there and it'll forward everything to whatever. So what that means is, on Squarespace, you pay Squarespace $30 a month. You get your domain, through Hover, and you link it. Your domain probably will cost you around $15 a year unless you get something fancy. You pay for that every year, so it's like paying your internet taxes to keep your space. And then if you decide Squarespace isn't your thing, or WordPress isn't your thing, you want to go try one of the other ones, you still have your domain. You don't have to fight with Squarespace or WordPress or whatever to keep your name. And that can be really frustrating if somebody tries to keep your name and you've already got 10,000 business cards out in the world that have a certain .com in it. I've been using ShantasticShine.com for 10 years. My businesses have changed, but there are still people who have my very first business card. So for 10 years now, I've been handing out business cards with the same website on it. No matter how much my art has changed, how much I've evolved over the years, people who followed me 10 years ago can still find me because I have not lost that .com. That's one that I've been able to keep. So hover.com, super recommended. They're pretty awesome. So that's my little spiel on domains being different than websites. You can check that out if I went too fast later. This is just a reminder. This goes with the checklist I gave you on how to get all your personal information together. Mariana said that she used Adobe, so that's pretty cool. I use Google Docs. Just keeps everything all in one spot. SEO is something that's been really big. It makes it easier for you to be found on the internet. Basically, it's just search engine words, making sure you infuse lots of words into your website that people will be searching on Google, making your titles things that would be searchable. There's usually in Squarespace, there's a little section you can infuse SEO. You can infuse phrases that people use. Something that is probably on another slide but I want to make sure I don't forget it, is renaming your pictures is so stinking important and no one thinks about it. Renaming your pictures is so powerful because if you have a picture even of purple crystals and someone searches purple crystals on Google, they could land on you. If you post a picture of you and it has your name, then if someone Googles your name and your picture will pop up. But if it just says like headshot 3, you're not showing up in Google. Like that's probably what a lot of mine say at first. So like the more you rename your pictures is so powerful. So like me with jewelry, if I put amethyst pendant versus amethyst 1145, if someone searches amethyst pendant, there's a better chance that I'm going to come up in the Google search. And that works on all the platforms, same with Facebook and everything. So like having those pictures just be named something different, so powerful. Yeah, so not heavy coding, not a lot of flash, like not a lot of moving things. I was actually surprised the website that was used as an example before, it had a lot of flashing pictures, and that used to be something that was really heavy and flash based, but there's been a lot of different upgrades and coding now to make things less heavy. And what I mean by heavy is you want your page to load like a snap. When someone opens it on a phone, if it takes longer than 10 seconds, people are gonna be like, oh, it's not working, bye. Like you want it to work instantly. So the less is more sometimes on a home page specifically, because you want it to load quick, they want to know that they're in the right spot, and they want to know what they're there for. So not having super heavy pages, super powerful. All right, so taking things to Squarespace, pretty simple. A lot of us seem to know about Squarespace. If you don't, once you get this has everything you need. This even has templates that I use when I build for clients that are the most simple, basic but powerful templates to use. It even explains how to find the older templates if you're confused at what I mean by that. I try to make things step by step so that if I'm not here to answer questions, you've got it at your fingertips. Title your photos. I knew I had it somewhere because that's how important it is. Title your photos. And if you've already made a website and you haven't titled them, you can actually go back and change them, I think, sometimes. But even just from this point forward, if you can remember that, it's going to change your game. Be relatable. Don't be afraid to share your journey. I feel like that's what we've been like reintegrating every week is share your journey, share your story. People want to know who you are. They don't want to just know what you have to offer. They don't want to just know you updated your website. They want to know, why'd you update your website? What changed within you to make a shift in your website? Why should they go check out your new platform? Even if it's the same .com, like share the journey, share the transformation, share the upgrade. Another big one is if you're selling something, accept as many forms of payout as you feel comfortable with. Squarespace accepts PayPal and Stripe, which is a direct credit card. I did not accept Stripe for the first 2 years of my online shop. And I was really frustrated with it because I only wanted to accept PayPal. I was used to PayPal. I felt safe. It was comfortable. I didn't want to sign up for another platform. Let me tell you, as soon as I got direct card, I did not know there were so many people in the world that were afraid of PayPal. And my sales tripled just instantly because they had another option to pay outside of PayPal. So don't be afraid to use the direct credit card thing. Stripe that's built into Squarespace. It's been super good for me. I got a little specific bank account for my business, specifically dedicated to Stripe, so I could keep track of it. I wanted to see what I was getting in and out, and it just deposits it right into my bank account every other day, so I don't have to do anything. And then I get a little report document. Super simple. Don't be afraid to kind of branch out there. It seems scary at first, but it's really not. This is a
Shannon, are the fees with Stripe kind of like merchant?
It's basically the same as PayPal in a lot of ways. I think it's almost the same percentages and everything.
Okay.
I didn't know if I wanted to expand and have to pay attention to another thing. It was like already I was tracking reports in PayPal, and it seemed, just daunting to expand at first. So I just wanted to give people the permission to know it's not that bad to have to, if it triples your income too. So like take the extra little step if you'd feel comfortable doing so. But yeah, it's about the same as PayPal, which I don't want to make a quote on numbers, but it's worth it, especially for me as somebody that's an artist that knows, if I take my product somewhere else, they're going to take a 30 to 50% cut anyway. So like the small little fees on what PayPal and Stripe take, it keeps them in business, it keeps me in business, and add it to your fee if you have to. And depending on how you do your different business taxes and stuff, there's certain things you can write off that help with that, but you have to ask certain states are different with things. But just keeping track of your fees and what you pay to, that way you can integrate it into your pricing is super helpful. This is just a little breakdown on pages to get a basic website going, to give you an idea. If you're like, I don't even know what pages my website should have. A landing page is a super good start, just having business card information, how to email you, a picture of you, a bio of you. If you don't have any offerings or anything yet, just even like a space just outside of social media at all that people can figure out how to contact you, because more and more people are hopping off of social media. So you want people to be able to Google you and find you. Having a gallery is super good because then you can see your past projects and your aesthetic, your contact info, and your bio page, which I gave you the little cheat sheet on creating a bio page. Talked about SEO and keywords. Making sure to include your social links on your website so that if people only end up on your website once, which maybe they will, maybe they'll only ever be on your website once, you want to get them on your social medias where they can see your updates every day or however often you make them. So make sure you have your social media links everywhere if possible. Just makes it easier that way. If they're not checking their newsletter, they're not going to your .com, they're still connected to you. But speaking of newsletters, I know we talked about it a few moments ago with Cold Tea. You do want to collect as many emails as possible because, you know, not everyone's going to stay connected on social media. And, you know, don't let the numbers of your newsletter be something you obsess over either. I get people that will follow, unfollow all the time. I don't actually send too many newsletters. I often forget, will only send them out very rarely. But just having that access to a list of several hundred to 1,000 emails when I do have something big to share, super powerful. You might think, oh, I don't have anything right now, or I don't want to even do a newsletter. Just collect them. People want to give you their email. Anytime I'm at an event, somebody's like, do you have a sign-up list? Like, they get excited to sign the guest book. So if you do an in-person event, my suggestion is I have a little notebook. It's actually like a real pretty little, it's probably in my to-go box right now. Just a little journal. It's got a little leather cover, and it's my guest book. So anywhere I go do an event, I will stick it by me, and I'll stick my free stickers, which are my business cards, next to it. Branding tip: stickers, just as cheap or as expensive as business cards, and people will take them, stick them everywhere. So my business cards are actually stickers. I think somewhere in one of my things I'm going to give you is printrunner.com. I can get 1,000 stickers for like $30. And that's cheaper than I've found most business cards. And people will stick them all over their water bottles. They stick them on their cars. They stick them everywhere. And then
Is this for
everywhere.
Can you get just one design of sticker for those 1,000, or you can split them into 500 of 2 different designs?
One design, but you can get smaller packages for even cheaper. I usually go with 1,000 because I think that's the one that made the most sense to me. And I ship a lot of things, so I usually throw about 3 stickers in and give a friend or something. So they're just that easy, and they seem like easy marketing, and they've been helpful to me. So stickers have been super helpful. Yeah, I'll pop the link in the chat. It's printrunner.com is what I use. And sometimes if I know somebody locally or somebody else that makes stickers, I'll go through them too. But this has been a reliable website, and they get them to me within like 2 weeks typically. So if I'm doing an event and I want new stickers, they've been my go-to for fast service. And one time they cut them funky. I got like 1,000 funky cut stickers. I was like, you know, this border is like kind of cut off. And they were like, oh, we're so sorry. And they sent me 1,000. Like the next day had them shipped out, and they told me just to keep them. So I just like cut the ones that were funky a different way. So then I had 1,000 extra stickers. So it was like, all right, cool. So another company I found with decent customer service that has helped me over the years. But yeah, so stickers were super helpful. So I stick my little guest book. That's where I was going. I had a guest book, and I stick free stickers by the guest book. And I tell people, hey, I have some free stickers here if you'd like to get them before you leave. And if you don't mind, you're welcome to sign my guest book and leave me a message or an email or both. And usually people will take a second and do that. And if I have a donation bin or something there too, I'll stick that there with it. And sometimes people will give donations. Sometimes they'll leave me crystals, you know, whatever's in the moment. You get all kinds of things. But creating that little space to invite people to as they leave is super powerful. And you get to create a connection with them. It's almost like a book signing or something. Like I can walk up and say hi or hug them or do whatever feels in the moment. And you've invited them then to continue connecting with you. Not just, bye guys, event's over. So that's my in-person branding tidbit for you. I think this actually answers some of your questions earlier, Colty, about Squarespace having a built-in option that you can upgrade them. But I also use MailChimp and MailerLite, which Sheena, I think, uses MailerLite. Making sure everything's mobile friendly. Another reason I love Squarespace. I think that WordPress had this option, but it was hard for me to figure out. Squarespace automatically creates a typically mobile friendly version of your website, and you can adjust it a little bit as needed. But I found that out of the different, I've tried Wix, Weebly, WordPress, and like 10 other ones through the years, and Squarespace has been the most like instant. It's been the most instant kind of transformation from regular website to a mobile website. So another reason I love Squarespace. Just in general, have fun with it. A lot of people will get a little worked up, I've found, by working with many different types of humans. When it comes to creating a website, there's this pressure. There's a lot of fear that build around putting yourself out there and putting your message out there in a way that feels vulnerable. Some people get upset if they're like, oh no, I had a typo, or oh no, I like repeated myself too much. And it's like, it's okay if there are a few typos. Just make sure all your buttons work. Ask a few friends or peers to take a second and hop in and look at it for you. And if anyone finds any bugs or broken links, just invite them to tell you when you make a launch of things. Don't get too stressed out that you don't launch the project. Have a lot of fun with it and know that you deserve to, put some energy and love into a space that your dream can live on the internet, because the internet is forever can be a scary phrase for some people, but you can also go back and edit it and you can shift it and people want to see you evolve. And that's just kind of my little end page here, but little things to remember. So yeah, we covered a lot of that and we still have a few minutes so I can answer questions and show Canva. I know a couple just hopped in here, so I'm sorry if anyone was in the waiting room. I had my screen shared and I couldn't see everything, but welcome. And yeah, does anyone have any questions? I feel like I just talked a lot and so fast.
I have a question, because you did write about you can have a blog on it. So does Squarespace have set up a blog page and you can directly blog there, or do you have to write then copy and paste? How does that work?
So they have a spot that is a blog, and you can create it. I think they call it articles too. So like a blog is considered an article and you can update different things on there. How about this? I will open Squarespace. I'll do both Squarespace and Canva. These typically go to 2:30 or to the half hour of wherever time zone you're in right now, right? I'm not
Yes.
Okay. I was like, okay, I have way more time than I thought I might. I will do a quick Canva and a quick Squarespace rundown for anyone that has major questions. If there's any other questions, though, feel free to kind of throw them at me or throw them in the comments. And
Shannon, I do have a question.
Yes.
I'm trying. One of the reasons I stuck with the WordPress was because I was trying to do self-streaming versus embed. Okay, because I'm a big. I had a website, but I'm redoing it, and I'm going to be focusing mainly on on-demand content and videos. I just want to be putting up videos more than the one-on-one work. For now, I'm kind of playing with that. So, yeah, whatever you have to say about the embed versus YouTube, versus self-streaming.
So I don't self-stream. I do use YouTube, but what I have all of my courses and things as unlisted on YouTube. YouTube is my platform where my videos go, but nobody else sees them unless I have the link embedded. It sounds like you're trying to avoid embedding. I'm not exactly sure why, other than maybe you don't want everyone to see it on YouTube. But I don't necessarily know if I have the feedback to answer your question any deeper than that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I mean, what is drawing me to do self streaming, which does not include going through YouTube, is because first of all, on WordPress system, you you can do it, not on Squarespace. In Squarespace, you would need to do the embed.
Mm-hmm.
But I just have been wanting to create my, instead of taking people to other platforms, I want them to stay on my website. Not,
Totally.
yeah.
So you mean like even with like the portal we've created for Earth-Rooted Leadership, how Sheena's videos are embedded, you don't like how that it shows the YouTube
Right. I
logo?
don't, yes, I think I rather keep, because all the numbers then, when my question would be like, when someone watches that video, then does YouTube take the points for someone visiting, or does my website take the point? You know how there is if you want to eventually have ads, for example, on your website, then you would have to have a certain number of visits on your website. And so I'm trying to drive the public just to the website and not to another platform when it's linked
Totally.
together.
I understand. I don't necessarily know the answer to the question because I too am still streaming through YouTube. I haven't had too much of a problem with that. Usually people stay on my website. I watching the analytics to see if how many people click off certain videos because I had that same question and I just haven't found a workaround on it. So I just put my videos on YouTube and I make them unlisted and then I just embed from YouTube at this point. That's why we built Sheena's that way too. But if I think or find out any information to answer that question, I will post it in the group.
Okay. Thank you.
Cool.
Can I share one other resource that may be helpful?
Yes.
There is a website or an application called Loom. So Loom lets you put your face, record your screen at the same time, or record your desktop and your face, or just one or the other. Now they have limits, I think, on how long your videos can be before you have to start paying. And I don't know if it will actually solve your embedding issue, because then it may just wind up taking them to Loom rather than another place. But if you're looking for an alternative to YouTube, or even a presentation alternative, I have found that Loom is a really great way to create your face in the video while also showcasing something on your desktop.
Cool.
So that's another resource. I think the heart of your question is still hard to answer because YouTube is kind of the name for hosting video online. There's basically no alternatives. But if you are looking for a different tool, then Loom, Loom, might be a way to do that.
Thanks. Cool. I'll have to check that out because I've never heard of it either. Beautiful. All right. I'm going to show Squarespace real quick and then we'll hop on Canva because I know some of you wanted to do Canva. So we won't spend too long on Squarespace, but I do want to show there's a blog feature and just show you how to get to the templates. I think that's a powerful thing. That way you can have the more user-friendly templates. So I think you can see this here. So this will be what you see if you go to Squarespace, you go to get started, you'll take you to these template places. When I say I go to 7.0, I scroll all the way to the bottom because these are all their new templates, which are great for some people, just for creative purposes. I'm most familiar with these ones. So it says, look for templates with older platform. And there's all of these ones here. And there's one that I really like called, this one, Mojave is pretty good. And Bedford is another good one. I'll just go with this for the sake of it. So the back end is pretty easy. It'll walk you through everything. And you can go to design and you can program the different design elements, change your logos, your templates, all of that fun stuff. I think the original question though was how to make a blog. So if you go to pages, this template already has all these pages built in. So you wouldn't even have to create them. You would just have to put the content into them, which is pretty cool. But if you wanted to create a blog, if you go to this little plus here, there's a spot here that says collections and blog, and it will just create that for you, super easy. And then each one of these little things would then be your blog, and you can create drafts and whatnot there. So anytime I have a jewelry release, I create a little blog. And these blogs too help you get searched in Google. So if you, as you write on them, it'll create a little SEO title and a description frequently. It'll kind of generate that, or you can program it in. And this port here will help you be found on Google, because if people search, you know, if I had something in there, again, I usually go to crystals because that's what I use a lot, like, or ring sizes. A lot of people ask me, like, how do I size my ring? I have a blog about how to size yourself for a ring. So people that might not even be looking for my rings find me through Google because I have that blog. So little things that connect to your mission, super helpful to have in blogs. I don't know if there was another Squarespace question specifically. I felt like there was. I think it was something about the newsletter, and I don't know if I can pull that up this easily. Let's see. Let's go to the About page. If anyone has any questions, I'll pull up my comments or my chat again. Feel free to pop them in there. But you can just edit these pages pretty simply. You would be able to edit your pictures, all that fun stuff. And then if you do want to build in a space to collect newsletters, I believe it's just right here. You can go to newsletter and it'll add that kind of underneath. Scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. Oh, I didn't drag it over. Sorry if that makes you dizzy. Huh. I don't know why it's not building on that page. Typically it'll pull over. It might be popping up on one of my other monitors. And then it'll ask you if you want to link it to Squarespace's newsletter or one of the other platforms. I can try that again later. Is there any other major Squarespace questions? It seems like a lot of you have already got different platforms that you're working with, so. Cool. James, how are you doing? Hop in here. Can't hear you.
Hi. Okay, sorry.
No, okay. Sorry, you just popped it in the middle, so you probably have all kinds of questions.
I'll definitely go back and watch the video and come up with some questions. But
Cool.
I had a comment actually for Myra. With, I don't know if you're interested in like using different sites, but I'm using GoDaddy to make my website right now, and they do allow you to either embed videos from YouTube or to upload it straight to your site without linking it to any outside content. But it is a paid. It is paid.
And what was that again?
It's GoDaddy sites.
Oh, so GoDaddy actually has a built-in.
GoDaddy for hosting. So it does my hosting for the domains.
Huh. That's interesting. Another one I'll have to check out more into. See, I love that there's different people that use different platforms, because there's no real one way. These are just ways that I can offer from personal experience. So feel free to hop in the Facebook group too if you have a different method that's been working for you or you think is anything beneficial. Be awesome.
Well, actually, Shannon, I just discovered this, and it was like it solved a lot of problems because I have my nonprofit Coach to Edify, and that was done years ago on WordPress. I paid someone to do it, but I don't pay any annual fees for WordPress at all. And then I figured out how I could do a subdomain and a sub website for my other businesses. So now I'm gonna have my Myra Holy Fit, which is the one I'm working with here in this program, as a WordPress. I was using Google Sites, and it was like a nightmare. You know, it was like kindergarten website building that had really no tools to offer at all. And I didn't want to even share it because it was just so unprofessional. But this guy that I'm working with in Fiverr, who's super user friendly in terms of costs, he transferred the whole website into WordPress, which already makes it like a bomb, and I don't have to pay anything extra. And so my domain is going to be myraholyfit.coach2edify.org. So I'm going to be branding both the Coach to Edify and my own website with each name. And then I have other social enterprises that are with Coach to Edify. So we're going to be doing the same thing for them. So
Cool.
they're like subdomains that will be linked and piggybacking from our domain and our website.
That's awesome. So
Yeah.
you've been building a different web from it. I'm kind of curious what version of WordPress you're using, because I know when I first got into WordPress too, I was slightly confused because there was WordPress.com and I think either org or net, and one of them had a much different building process than the other. One was set up to be more of a blog and one was set up to be more of like a website. Maybe that's where I got confused, because one cost a lot more than the other too. It sounds like yours is free, so I'm like,
mine is free. I know. I double checked with him. I'm like, are you sure this is free? Cause I haven't. I don't receive any bills from them. Just like, and I've had it for 10 years.
That's amazing. Yeah, it sounds like you found something that's really working for you. So kind of like, I'm not here to sway anyone towards a different platform that has something that works for them. So that's beautiful. I'm excited for you to have all the different pieces in one.
I know.
That's exciting. So exciting. Yeah. Someone said, is this going to be in the portal or the Facebook group? I'm going to try to put it in both. Also, fun fact, we're going to get a PDF version of the whole workbook put together so that it's easy to download in one PDF. And I'm working on, there's a few buttons in the portal that Shayna says aren't working for some of you. So if anyone is having any issues at all with the workbook for the Earth-Rooted Leadership, just hit me up. I have them all. I actually have built them in Canva. So our workbook has been created in Canva. So that gives you an idea of like what some of the things you can do there. All of the things I just showed you were created in Canva. So we're going to have one big workbook. We've just kind of been waiting to get, we've been building and adding to it as we go. So it's been hard to get one big file. So if there are other things you would like us to include, let me know. Like I said, instead of recreating all of the ones I had already in a different format, we just are going to include them in a different way. So I will get them as a PDF for everyone. I don't think I missed any other questions in there. We do have a few minutes, so I do want to show Canva real quick. And then I have a song that we can end out with and kind of meditate together and set a space for reflection. But let me get this up. Can you see Canva there? Thumbs up? Yeah. So this is just kind of Canva. A lot of people have probably seen it. Super easy. There's a free version. I think on this computer I may have had the upgraded version. We're just going to pretend we're creating a logo for a second. You can see there are like thousands of templates for logos already, and like I will say that there's probably people out there that just use these basically as is. Like there's probably some DJ out there using this exactly as this is and it's just put their DJ name. But you can change the color of this. I can make it pink. I'm tilting because my screen is all weird over here. But you can add elements to it. So I'm like, all right, I don't want just the headphones, but this is a good start. Maybe I want these headphones. And maybe I want, you know, like a triangle behind it instead. So it's not just that. And then I'll like, oh, but now it's in front of it. You can go to this little position button and throw it back there. And like it's already going to instantly start to be its own thing. So you can start to create your own version of something, even just from ideas on there. And then you can pick your fonts. On Canva, you can change these fonts. And I think you can do it on the free version, but I know on the version, I pay $10 a month on my main computer here. And you can link it up to your phone, your iPad, whatever. And you can edit from there. The desktop is definitely the best, but you can program in your colors and stuff too. So like instantly I can change this up and then it's like my own thing. It's completely different than the template, and it's not likely somebody else is going to go in there and click those exact elements and have the exact logo as me now. You know, like it didn't take too much to create something different. It might not be the most organic to somebody else, but for somebody just starting, it's a beautiful free way to get yourself an idea started. And you could even send that then to a designer. Let me see here. If I go back to my home, wish my desktop was set up different. You can go and you can create a brand kit over here. So like you can see there's my blue, my purple, my kind of coral colors, and then my orange is built in and my yellow because, again, a lot of times I do things with my partner, so I've started to sneak those into my brand. You can change your fonts here. You can even upload a font, And this computer we use for, I do graphic logo designs and stuff for everybody. So I don't have my logo branded in here, but you could put your logo in here and it'll save it so that when you open templates that have a logo in them, it'll actually open the template with your logo on it. So it's a pretty cool little app. And then that's also where Shayna and I create all of her stories. So if you're like, man, I want to make all these cohesive stories, you can start using these templates here and they look awesome. And you just have to drop your own stuff in. So you don't have to do a whole lot of design thinking.
That's where I had my meltdown over the weekend. I kept seeing Shina's amazing stories, you know, with this graphics moving, the background. It was so perfect. I'm like, oh my God.
And that animation and everything is built in here. You can even do, like, I make YouTube videos from this now. So like if you wanted to make a YouTube video for an ad, or I make meditations, and sometimes I just want like a video of some like grass blowing or something simple for a meditation, and I don't have the picture, I can go here. This is a little video template. It's got animation built in it. Watch this. I can go over here. There's a spot for videos, so I can go to videos. Canva's got this built in. I can put in grass blowing. And it's got videos of grass blowing in the wind, and I can put that in there. And then I can put my website. And so if you see something like this and it's like already all moved together, that means they've grouped it so that it's supposed to help sometimes. It's a little annoying. You can go up here, this little button says ungroup. Now I can move all these around and I can make my website the way I want. But I'm not really changing the template too much. I'm just, you know, making it work for me.
Shannon, you also said that, oh, go ahead, Mariana.
Sorry, no, you had your hand raised. Go ahead.
I was really just curious because you said you use the free version for most everything. Like, what are the benefits of paying for Canva? Who might need that? And does anyone pay for Canva? Because it seems like it's pretty powerful, just the free version.
The free version's super powerful. So you see these little things here on the side where this crown is? Can you see that? Thumbs up.
Oh, yes.
So where that crown is, that means it's a Canva Pro option. But you still have these 6 free animations. So unless you want this specific one, you can use this one for free. And sometimes in their elements, like you can see most of those don't have that crown on it. You have to kind of dig deep into things to see something that is Canva Pro these days. Like they have a lot of free things. I paid for the Pro on my main computer and my main platform because I get a lot of people who want specific things, and they'll pick a thing not knowing that it's a Pro, and they'll just send it to me. So like me and my team, I have like a whole bunch of different influencers that come to me if they need something that's a Pro. Like, all right, I pay for it. So like I made a chakra book. Getting ready to release my first book, guys. I'm super excited. Or everyone, and it's got these symbols in it, and I wanted these specific symbols. So like last week or something, I think I got the Pro again on this computer. I didn't even have it for 2 months or something because I didn't use it that frequently, but I wanted these specific symbols. So rather than paying $1 per symbol, I paid the $10 a month. It's really worth it. I paid $50 for Adobe and I don't really ever use it. So I'm like, I use Canva for like everything now. Like I used to use Photoshop religiously. It was like, if you don't have Photoshop, are you a real designer? It's like, if you don't use the free options that are way easier for you to get things done quickly, like what's the point of paying and using the fancy programs? Like Canva can do so much. I made this video, like watch, I can make this longer too. So this says pop, I can add this animation to it. Down here, it's these different panels. So it'll make this video into these panels if I want. And I can change the length. Somewhere there's a way to change the length up here. So if I want this movie to be more than 28 seconds, I could have changed that time, but it just made this into a little video for me. And I can just download that and put that on my YouTube. I can change the music too, I just didn't. So
can you add your own raw footage to that up there?
Yes, I don't know if I have any of my own videos right now on here. A bunch of different art and people we podcast with. I don't have any video clips right now.
Click on the video option in the middle. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Yep. So like.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
These are videos of me and my partner. I don't know why they're upside down, but I can just drag them over here and I can flip them. So like, now I'm in there, and that's us talking on our podcast. So I can just download it. So it's pretty simple. I do it with videos of my jewelry a lot. I'll make little things for my Instagram, like little montages of different jewelry I've made. So you can do all the different things. You could take these away. Down here it says "Fake it till you make it." That's the song. You could take this off, and I do drumming. I do a hand drum, so I'll make videos with my jewelry and put my own drum music to it, so I don't have to find copyright-free music. So you can do a voiceover if you wanted to have a bunch of pictures of a facilitation or of your venue or your yoga space, and if you wanted to do a voiceover, you could infuse that right in Canva. You don't need to have a special video editor. So super cool stuff. Does anyone have any other Canva questions or anything there?
I don't have questions, but I have contributions.
All right, let's go to that. Anyone else have contributions? I've talked.
For Canva, the free version or the paid version has a lot more photos and a lot more graphics to use. And one cool thing that it lets you do when you pay is resize things. So if you created a template, like a post with the Facebook sizing, then you can resize it to Instagram and it'll like kind of reshape everything. And then it'll resize it to a story. And like you can remove, like, so it'll take everything that was in the original one and just like move stuff around so everything fits. So instead of like creating separate posts for each one, then you can just resize with the paid version. I think actually, and I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that the brand kit saving thing is a pro option, not a free option. I'm pretty sure. And then the other thing is Canva has a really, really great blog for learning things, like including marketing. So they have like a really extensive learning platform. I think it's like canva.com/learn. And I actually think Canva is like the best website in the last like 10 years that was invented.
It's insanely valuable. And while you talk, I'm going to show them the resize feature because I do actually use that. That's something I missed.
And then what you mentioned about Photoshop is actually now with the pro version of Canva, you can actually, like, if you have a photo of like you outside or something, but you want a different background, it now lets you erase the background so that like you don't have to use Photoshop anymore. You can just like, and it'll automatically erase the background, and then you can plug yourself into whatever photo it is. So I actually highly, highly recommend the $10 a month.
That's great. Sounds like, because I pay Photoshop, but I rarely use it anymore. So I think I'm gonna flip it. And I paid $20 for Photoshop.
Yeah, highly recommended. I quit using Photoshop, even not having Canva Pro there for a few months, and there are features like were just mentioned that completely changed it. I don't know if you saw. It didn't completely change it the way I wanted to, but it instantly made it a square so that it would be more postable to different platforms. So totally a great platform. Is there anything else anyone wants to share? I know we're over time, so if everyone's feeling good,
go, but thank you so much.
Okay. Totally. Well, I invite you all to post in the Facebook group then. Anyone that wants to stay, I did say I was going to play a song. So I have a song called Already Here that I'd like to end this out with, and just invite anyone that does have the last few minutes, like 2 minutes here, to really just feel your brand kind of coming to life. So I invite you to believe that everything you want is already here and that it's not going to be that hard to bring these last final pieces together. Feel free to move or meditate.
Everything you want is already. Everything you want is already. Everything you want is already. Here, here, here. Here, here, here. Here, here, here. Here, here, here. my bones when it's out of sight. Fortified for the ride, yearning for everything all the time. Yeah, the goal is what I see, but I fall in love with the journey. It overflows, and here's the key, so that you can dig into this treasury. Tune into the vision by moving with imagination. Checking with emotion, saying I'm closer to its manifestation. And with the dasher, I'm so grateful. Watch you drop into the physical. Everything you want is already here. Here, here, here. Everything you want is already here, here, here. Everything you want is already here. Here, here, here. Everything you want is already here, here, here. I melt when you hold me, whisper in your ear that I am near. Your warmth brings me great relief. Toe to toe with you, may I be always, always be. And you ain't gotta work hard, baby, let go. It's already handled from the get-go. Just keep this memory central. And show up, yeah, let the vibe send you. And you ain't gotta work hard, baby, let go. It's already handled from the get-go. Just keep this memory central. And show up, yeah, let the vibe send you. Everything you want is already here. Here, here, here. Everything you want is already here. Here, here, here. Everything you want is already here. Here, here, here. Everything you want is already here, here, here.
Beautiful.
Here, here, here.
That was my offering for all of you. It was nice being able to share all the things that have helped me. I would love to answer any questions and stay connected with all of you. I joined this journey with Shayna so that I could be of service to others that were where I was when I was getting started, and I also wanted to learn more about Shayna and her offering. So it's been beautiful, being a part of this. At first, when it first started, I was in a whirlwind of my own transition, and just seeing all of us blossom together has been super powerful. So feel free to reach out, hop in the Facebook group, and yeah, I'm gonna end it here. Hope y'all have a good rest of your day.